If you like to take road trips through post-apocalyptic lands, then this is the road trip you want to be on. I'm in War 07 and I'm bringing you along my review of Metro Exodus. I'm going to start with the graphics because the graphics in this game are not just outstanding and superb, but fundamental part of the game. I personally believe that graphics alone here are at least half of what makes Metro Exodus a superb post-apocalyptic survival first-person shooter game. The lighting, even without ray tracing, which you can enable on the PC, is really good. Even more when you have HDR plus an OLED display. When I first started playing, I did not have HDR enabled and it was a non-OLED display. But once I did, it really improved my enjoyment of the beautifully crafted world. That's why I suggest that you play the game with HDR at the very least, even if you don't have an OLED display. But if you can, try it out on an OLED, and because of the day and cycle changes, day and night time lighting, which really truly do change how a place feels and looks between day and night, especially on HDR with an OLED display. I will not go too much into the technical details other than the game has a really good implementation of HDR, and on the Xbox One X it runs at 30 FPS stable and native 4K resolution. On the PlayStation 4 Pro it runs at 1440p, on the normal PS4 it is 1080p, and the base Xbox One it runs at a dynamic resolution of around 900p. This game's a first-person shooter game with the occasional button-pressing quick events and in-game engine cutscenes, which are really well crafted. The shooting mechanics for me are good enough, but coming from competitive gaming and playing pretty much every shooter out there, I would say the shooting mechanics here are good enough, meaning they get the job done. And they're not bad, but they do feel floaty and slow. It could be due to the 30 FPS limit that the game has on console, but besides feeling floaty, the sensitivity settings are also a little bit out of whack. I have played using the Elite Series 1 and 2 controller, and adjusting the sensitivity to exactly the way I wanted it took me a while, and even after adjusting them, aiming down sight was the part that I wasn't able to fully set the way I wanted it to. Besides shooting, there is looting in the game, which is repetitive and simple, yet I enjoyed it. The creatures and enemies that I encountered made me want to be prepared for anything and everything, so I did not find the rinse and repeat of the game annoying personally. I can see why though someone would not be happy with how basic and simple the gameplay maintains itself throughout the game, since by the halfway point you have pretty much done everything you'll be doing for the rest of the game. You do get to drive small boats and vans, and the weapons are interesting and varied, yet nothing crazy since it takes place in the very near future. I do like how you have to clean your weapons in order to maintain them working though. The accessories you can use on your weapons is decently vast and keeps you excited to keep looting, for you might just find a new piece for your weapon of choice, or even a weapon you haven't or don't use often. The enemy types are varied in how they look and sound, with the occasional WTF moment of some new creature. But if you're not new to the Metro games, these creatures aren't going to take you off guard often. They attack and behave in similar fashion, except I truly was surprised with some creatures that were truly dangerous, like a gorilla that's blind, and a sea creature and a ghost-ish floating ball of electricity. Plus, being taken up in the sky by a human-sized bat was legit. The difficulty of the game isn't too high, at least as long as you don't go with the highest difficulty, mostly due to the AI on the enemies being kinda dumb. But you will still get a decent challenge out of this game. I would say for achievement hunters, beware, it's not a quickie. This game will take some time to get a good decent amount of achievement points. I know I talked a lot about gameplay, but honestly, it is basic and simple. So much that I understand why someone would get bored fast if they don't find enjoyment in the story, characters, or world. The game does allow for Dolby Atmos, which I only got to test out with headphones, and it was good, but not much better than the Windows Sonic Sound Profile that Windows gives for free. So if you can, play on Dolby Atmos because it is better, but not a day and night difference. So if you don't, you're not missing out on much. The voice acting in Spanish is good, which is what I played on. I have not heard the English version. I've heard that it is a little weird since the original language is on Russian and the English dubbing is a little weird, but I have not played it, so I can't tell you. The facial animations are probably one of the things that feels bad compared to how high quality everything is, but I find it forgivable since they're not horrible, and maybe in Russian they would match much better. To finish, the story, I don't talk much about it because honestly, after the first level, it becomes sort of a to-do list and just an excuse for you to just explore the beautiful world of Metro Exodus. That doesn't mean that you won't have a legit cool event or events happen during the campaign. It's just that they're predictable pretty much all the time, and they don't really surprise you more than they're gruesome and nerve-wracking at times, and intense. I did sadly get the sad ending, so I'm hoping they will add ray tracing to the game for consoles once the Series X comes out, or at least a 60 FPS mode, so that I can revisit the game and get a good ending for my favorite post-apocalyptic Russian couple, Artyom and Anna. I can highly recommend this game, especially if you have the Xbox Game Pass. If you have the Xbox Game Pass, I say download it and try it. Find out if you can overcome the repetitive gameplay in order to experience a beautifully crafted video game. I wouldn't regret paying $60 for this game if I had ended up getting it without the Game Pass, honestly. So if by the time you're watching this review, the game is no longer on Xbox Game Pass, I still recommend it as an individual purchase. I think most people should probably still play the first games or at least look at them, or the one before this one, just to make sure they won't hate the gameplay mechanics and regret getting this game, you know? But anyway, I'm in War 07 and I give this game a thumbs up, and I can say it was a worthy experience, and I'm excited for this series to continue, and I recommend you at least give it a shot because it is a good, awesome post-apocalyptic experience. If you like this review, give it a like. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell, get notified, and let's keep rolling in this video game train because 2020 is looking to be good. Peace.